categories? Okay, well, we've got, I think everybody but one member, but being 15 minutes over, I think we will obviously get going. Um, Not sure the best way to do this. I assumed everybody's reviewed the packet of information with each candidate. And so I don't know if we want to go through them or just discuss them as a category. I certainly have kind of got some thoughts of my own, but I don't know if anybody has any input on what they'd like to do.
Can I just ask just for clarification? So today is to discuss who we would like to interview for each of the categories, correct?
Right. That's the idea. And the times for tomorrow to do those interviews, we've got enough time specifically allocated to do two candidates. If we want to keep our meeting from 12:30 to 3, two candidates in each category, excuse me. If we're okay extending that meeting time, we can do 3 candidates in each category, or some variation therein. To do all the candidates would require probably till about 5 o'clock tomorrow. So probably not likely. I assume we're going to try to shoot for 2, maybe 3 at the most, but if we want to stay on time, 2 is kind of that cap.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, okay. Then why don't we just jump in and we'll just go by category.
So wait, can I ask a question? Sorry.
Oh yeah, please.
This is Maureen Rosette. I guess I'm just really confused. I thought we were doing legislative something now, and I get so many of these. I get so many of these notices. It's hard to keep track of what's what. So I've been looking at the legislative stuff, thinking that's what we were doing at this time, and now I come to find out it's something else. And for just as a future whatever. I don't, you guys probably got served with this thing for the, this confidential thing over the weekend. I'd like to get a text or something beforehand because that really threw me off. I thought I thought somebody was pulling over because I was outside walking and I thought somebody was like trying to pick me up and steal me. I'm not even being joking about that. It freaked me out. And I was like, what the heck? Because it was just threw me off. I was not prepared for that.
Good input, I guess, on that. And that's something that doesn't happen. At least in my time, that's the first time that's happened. So hopefully that won't be a recurring event, both for us and our administrators who have to spend the time driving around delivering those. So no, that's point well taken, Maureen. Thank you. But yeah, this is to review the candidates for those board positions, the 3 categories. They were sent out, was it over the weekend that those were sent out?
Yes, Friday, I believe.
Okay, on Friday. And so the 3 citizen appointees that include the healthcare providers or health providers, consumer, public health consumer, and then the community stakeholder position. So trying to identify who we want to interview for those positions based on the applications. So why don't we just open it up? We'll start with public health consumer. And the current appointee who did reapply is Patty Keenholtz. And so I don't know if there's any further feedback. I think we had 3 applicants, including Patty, for that. And so if folks have any thoughts as to who they would like to advance. I can jump in and just say that I think it would make a lot of sense to at least advance Patty. She's obviously been pretty diligent, attending all the meetings, conferences, spending a lot of time on board of health issues. And so don't necessarily see a reason to replace her position. But certainly we can advance her along with somebody else to interview to get some context.
Yeah. If I could speak.
Yeah, please
Sure.
go ahead. I can't see necessarily hands, so please go ahead.
Okay. So I would agree. I mean, Patty has been really great at being very committed to the health board, listening, attending outside conferences too, just to make sure she's aware, and I think she's been a great board member. So I'm happy to advance her.
Okay. Any further?
I would echo those comments that both of you said. I think she's been a very dedicated board member who contributes quite a lot.
Great. Is there interest in only advancing Patty, or would you like to advance a secondary candidate in that category?
Michael,
Yeah, please go ahead.
I support advancing Patricia. And then if the group is interested, I was thinking of a second interview with Susan Amstetter. I think she goes by Susan. If the board wants to do another interview, I would suggest her as a second person to interview. Has experience in her family with opioid use disorder and treatment for that, and seems to understand the role of what the health district does. But I don't know what her availability is for meetings or anything, but that's what we could ask about in an interview.
Okay. Any others like to advance Susan Amstetter?
I would. This is Maureen.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we just plan then for this category to advance the two names, Patricia Keenholz and Susan Amstetter, for interviews tomorrow. That works for everybody. Any objections to that?
Sounds good to me.
Great. Okay. Why don't we go to our health providers? Looking for any input there. I'll just comment that Dr. Blakowski-May, I think, has done a great job, served on the policy committee, has been very active. I think a perfect attendance or pretty close to it at our board meetings. Very thoughtful. So I would just say that I don't necessarily think that she would need to be replaced, but certainly if there's a second candidate or if folks agree on that, we can advance her and then a second candidate if there's interest.
I would
I
agree.
definitely support moving her forward.
Okay.
She's been
I agree.
she's really carved out a lot of time, and I appreciate that, because a lot of people who are in active healthcare, if they're providing healthcare as their full-time job, it's a lot of work to carve out the time, and I think she's done a good job of that.
Great. And Commissioner Cooney and Kearns, it looked like you guys both were in agreement on that.
Yes, I am. I agree. She's really dedicated herself to making sure she's here for the meetings. And again, as we know, it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of time and attention. As Maureen, said too, there's a lot of things that just start to come up that we have to deal with and take care of. And so it's important to have people that are active participants wanting to, participate. And so Dr. Blakowski-May has definitely done that. So thank you.
Great.
I agree. I think she's been a great addition to the board.
And then are there thoughts as to who would be a second candidate, assuming there is a second candidate to advance from anybody?
I'll just throw out, I thought, is it Gretchen LaSalle, family physician, looked like a candidate that could be worth interviewing if we're going to stick with the plan of at least doing two. She would be of interest to me.
Okay. One for LaSalle. Other thoughts on that position?
She
I
was
support
somebody.
that one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
she was someone. No, go ahead, Maureen. Go ahead. You finish your sentence.
I would support that nomination as well, just to interview.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say she seems to have a really strong resume. She did mention that she's an advocate for, is it another organization or so? I didn't really understand all of that, but we could ask that, more about that in the interview.
All right. Anything, Commissioner Cooney or Kearns on the second candidate? Hearing none. Okay. Then we will advance both Blakowski May as well as LaSalle. What was the first name on that?
Gretchen?
Gretchen LaSalle. Wonderful. Okay, well, we are moving along real quick. That's great. We will move into community stakeholder. And we had, I think, 3 applications on this. And then there was a 4th today, somebody who had opted to change their category or moved categories. And so certainly we can entertain that. I will just say from the 3 applications I reviewed, the 2 that I am most interested in advancing are Spear and Baziotis, and would look for input from others on that.
So who is sorry, could you explain that further? Someone else wanted to have multiple categories or move categories?
The information on that.
Stephanie Courtney had applied and was listed under the health provider category, and then yesterday said that she applied for the wrong category and wanted to be placed in the community stakeholder category. And that is the person Councilmember Cathcart is referencing.
Okay, I noticed in her application, she didn't check off any of the boxes, but I don't know if that was a computer glitch or something. Okay. Oh, but I would support, sorry, so let me look at her application because I need to look at it now in the context of community stakeholder, but the gal who is the last name Spear, is that the one you were mentioning?
Yeah,
Councilmember Cathcart?
Spear and Baziotis were the 2 that I
Okay.
identified.
Spears, I've heard her speak at an opioid related function, education function. I think she has a background, right, of starting her own organization to educate around opioid prevention and treatment. So I would be interested in interviewing her. And let me look at Stephanie Courtney now that you're saying she wanted to be in the community stakeholder category.
Okay. Other thoughts from anybody on this category? Commissioner Jordan?
Yes. Yeah, I agree that Sarah Spear, I'd like to interview Sarah. I did review Stephanie Courtney's application, and I saw that when I was going through that there was no box checked for either of the 3 categories. And then I saw the email from Anne that she had clarified that she had intended to apply in the community stakeholder category or would like to be considered that way. I'm in support of that if that's her intent. I'd like to hear from her, and just was taking a look to make sure we were covered. And I was looking under the WAC definition of community stakeholders, and I don't think there's any question that she's qualified under that definition. So I'd like to interview her there.
I would like her as well for Spear and Courtney.
Okay. Other thoughts?
I definitely support interviewing Spears. I think Baziotis would be a great one to interview. Being a restaurant owner, restaurants deal a lot with the health district. Everything from the food safety to the food handler's permit. I mean, this would be a great opportunity, I think, to hear from an individual that represents folks that do actually have business with the health district and rely on the health district when it comes to those food safety procedures, those checkups by actual SRHD staff. So I think having that point of view would be a great addition to the board.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Cooney?
So yeah, I'd agree with Commissioner Kearns on that too, because I think it's important for us as we look at the different people that are going to be on the board. We've got a lot of people that are already in health. We have the public health, with Dr. Blakowski May, I don't know, I think it's good to have other aspects and other points of view. And a big part of what the health district does is food safety. So I think that is kind of an interesting addition that we could have to our board. So I'd be definitely want to interview him.
Appreciate that, Commissioner Cooney. Yeah, that was my thought as well. At least to my knowledge, I don't think we've had a restaurant owner or someone from that industry who's been on the board to provide that perspective, given that it's such a substantial aspect of the organization and a major issue right now with all of the food safety concerns that are growing in the community right now. And so that was a big reason why I thought it would make a lot of sense to advance him.
Can I
Yeah, please.
weigh in on, okay, so I was just reviewing Stephanie Courtney's application, and I mean, I've heard really good things about Shades of Motherhood, the community-based organization that she runs that specifically works with Black mothers in our community who experience health inequities, especially around pregnancy. So I would definitely want to interview her. It just seems like that would be an important perspective to have on the board. I hear what you're saying. Maybe in this category, I mean, anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, well, I guess if there, oh, Commissioner Jordan?
I was going to suggest if there's a variety of interests in at least 3 of the candidates, maybe this is one where we just do 3.
Yeah.
If we've got the time.
Yeah, I think that'd be okay. Can we try to adjust that timing tomorrow to accommodate 3 in this one?
Yes, that can be done.
Okay. So why don't we just plan to do that then? We'll advance those 3 for this category. And so that would give us 7 total candidates to interview tomorrow. And I think the idea, best we can, we might slightly adjust this to be cognizant of time, but 20 minutes for each candidate, very little transition time, and then 15, 20 minutes at the end to discuss and review. And so if that conceptually works for everybody, that will be the plan, I think, for tomorrow. Not hearing any objections to that. Great. And then do we just...
So were we going to go, sorry, so the time for that tomorrow it's the late afternoon, right?
12:30 to 3-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
And then do we want to review the questions and just make sure we're okay with those? I know they were sent out, and I don't know how much feedback you got. I sent one little note, but I don't know if others did as well.
I only had one change, and that was by you to question number
Okay.
1. I did have a request from one of the applicants to have the questions beforehand, if that's okay with the board.
Have we done that in the past? I guess.
I don't believe we have done that in the past.
Okay. I don't necessarily like the idea of someone throwing it in ChatGPT and getting the answers and memorizing what to say. So I don't know that I would agree to give it in advance, but open to input from others.
I guess my question would be, are the interviews public? Like, I mean, will the feed, because we're doing them virtually. The interviews are virtual. The applicants will be on Zoom or Teams or whatever platform we're using. But is that a public feed that anybody else, like whoever the first interviewee is, can the second or third interviewee, are they going to be on listening to that Q&A and just getting the answers right there?
The interviews do have to be held in open session, and yes, they could do that if they chose to.
Well, then, I mean, if that's the case, we're kind of putting whoever the first person is at a disadvantage because they won't see the questions, but anybody coming after them would get to hear the questions. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So would we like to release those questions in advance then? Is that?
Commissioner Kearns, is that when we've done kind of interviews for appointing elected officials, we've released the questions, correct? For that very reason?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's, you can request that the other people not listen in, to try to keep it, as fair as possible, but we can't require it because it is an open public meeting. So, yeah, in a perfect world, everybody would wait their turn to click the Zoom link and not sort of get that advantage, but there's no way we can require it. So, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it when people
I-
just like read us an answer, but like over prepare. But I
Yeah.
guess the challenge, I think if Anne can tell them that we have a very specific amount of time, because I agree. We should probably just release the questions because then it's fair for everyone. But we need to reiterate to each candidate, like you can't ramble on for 10 minutes for every, like we're going to run out of time. So it's very time limited. So if they want to prepare, that's fine, but it has to be very, very short responses, so we can stay on time.
Oh, very, very good.
And yeah, and I will add, I mean, that's also something that we need to kind of take into consideration when we're deciding who we want to appoint. So,
Well, then why don't we agree that we'll release the questions? So Anne, if you want to do that today when you reach out to those candidates.
I can do that, and as you requested, I am sharing the screen.
And hopefully everybody can see that. Those are the questions there on the screen. If there's any comments or edits that folks would like to make, go ahead and speak up.
Mr. Chair, just a question.
Yeah, please.
So did you say about 20 minutes per interview in total?
Yeah, and it's just going to depend on how scheduling works. If we have to shave a couple minutes to fit in that third, or if we can extend a few minutes, that's just kind of what's in flux, but about 20 minutes.
Okay. So that gives them 3 to 4 between the asking of the question and the answering. It's a pretty lengthy response time that they could have, 3 to 4 minutes, with not very many questions. So I was just going to ask, have we ever, added more general questions like, why do you want to apply or anything like that? But I suppose it would all come out in these questions. And I think it's enough questions that they can give a robust answer without being rushed. So anyway, I think it's fine as is.
Okay.
well, could I add to piggyback on Commissioner Jordan's question there? I guess this would be a question for Michelle. Isn't there something in the way the legislation was written that each candidate must be asked the same questions? So there is something written. I mean, coming up with
Okay.
additional questions kind of is
Yeah.
a bit of a gray area, correct?
Yes, we can ask follow-up questions, but the questions identified ahead of time are supposed to be the same for everyone.
Okay. So are we in agreement that these questions work for us?
Yeah, it'll be tight because they have to keep their responses to 3 to 4 minutes, like Commissioner Jordan says. So you might want to suggest that, Anne. I mean, and then because that 5th question won't take very long to answer. Do you have the time? Yes or no? But if they have like one question back, we want to leave a couple minutes for that number 6. So anyway, that seems like a good guideline, like 3 to 4 minute response max.
Okay. I think that works great. And if we're good with the questions and we've got our candidates, then is there anything else that we really need to dive in here? I don't think so. Okay.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Please.
And I'm sorry if I missed this and it came up already, but do we just kind of take turns going down the line asking the question? Is that how you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, that's traditionally how we've done it. Is that everybody comfortable with that? Just each person can take a question and pose that to the candidate.
Works for me.
Okay. That works well for me. All right. Anything else from anybody on this process?
So do we have everybody from the board who are not appointed members on this call?
Yes.
Except for Liz Henry.
Except for
Yeah,
Liz.
I don't see Liz. So what was the decision we made? Did we have a protocol about, can she still be involved in the interviews tomorrow? I was just asking the question because we had this whole conversation on the transition committee about who could be involved with different things with the interviews for the AO position to be consistent. But I mean, we've decided who's going to move forward today for interviews. Can she still participate tomorrow and then weigh in on who she thinks should be finalists to give to the Board of Commissioners? Just clarifying.
I wouldn't think that she couldn't. I mean, I think the idea is that everybody would be a part of the same interviews, at least in each category. But
She'd have to be a part of all of them for that time frame.
yeah, I mean, I think that's really more the issue than being in this meeting. In my opinion.
I would agree. Yeah, she can't, if she missed some of the interviews in a category, then she shouldn't vote in that category. But if she participated, or not her in particular, but if any board member
Yeah, anyone.
participated in
case
all
some
of
us-
them.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
some of us had an emergency come up and we had to leave an hour early, so we missed the last category or something. You're saying it's category by category.
Correct.
Okay. Just so we're clear, so everybody's on the same page. Okay, just in case something came up.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we are, I think, good to go then. So I will, we'll adjourn this and give everybody back 20 minutes, and we'll see some of you this afternoon and some of you tomorrow. Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.